Hey guys, we're back in the shop again, and I have another tool here that I'd like to share with you. This time we have a Borescope camera, and what makes this one kind of special is it's USB powered. So you stick this thing on your computer, and if you have any kind of video editing or capturing software, you can actually just watch this on your computer screen, and it has LEDs built in it as well that are adjustable. So this thing is really cheap. It was like 21 bucks, and the main reason I bought it was I was working on an F350 doing a turbo swap and dropped a bolt down in the valley, and it was in a place where I could not see it, couldn't get to it, had no idea where it was. I just knew it was in there and I had to get it out. So I got this thing hoping that I could just fish it down through and find it. And it just so happens I did. This thing actually comes with a couple different little attachments here. You've got a mirror, which is essentially useless, and a hook, which is right next to useless. But what was really handy is it came with this magnetic attachment. So you can basically just slip the magnet onto the end of the camera, like so. And then you have the magnet on the end. You can just fish it down wherever it needs to be, and you can pick out your bolt once you find it. So it's super handy that way. So like I said, this thing was like 20 or 22 bucks. I got it on Amazon. The brand is DB Power, but I guess the branding is not super important because this is the box that comes in, just a plain white box with a couple stickers on it with a bunch of random numbers and a barcode. But like I said, the thing is dirt cheap, and just that one time using it, it paid for itself for me, because I would have been fishing around for that bolt for forever with a regular magnet on a stick or a mirror and just all that kind of stuff. It's easy just to get this thing, hook it up to the computer, and then go at it that way. And it has a ridiculously long reach on it. I mean, I'm not sure what you could use this thing for, because it's kind of a floppy cord, so it's not like you could really control where it fishes to, but it's really handy and it's came in quite useful for me a few times. So if it's one of those things you're interested in looking in, I mean, maybe you're changing your spark plugs and you just want to see what the top of your pistons look like. It's actually a really good idea if you think you've heard detonation in your car. Just pull a spark plug out, stick this thing down in it, it's LED lit, so you can actually see what's going on inside your engine. But it's one of those things, I think if you have one in your toolbox, you'd find a ton of different uses for it. And it's really handy if you have a computer in your garage like I do. I have my video software loaded up on that thing, I can bring it out. It's got a 17-inch screen that I can just see in high definition. I think this thing's like 5 megapixels, and it does actually film in HD. But you know, at 5 megapixels, you're not seeing a whole lot. But it's better than just fishing around forever with a magnet on a stick. So hey, if you think you've got a use for this thing, I'm sure if you put one in your toolbox, you'll end up using it more often than you think. And like I mentioned, this is a cheap one. It's like 20 bucks. There are way better models out on the market, ones with better cameras, better capabilities. I know a friend of mine has, I think it's a Matco version that is a camera like this. You know, it has a screen built into it, but the actual cord on it has a cable with a trigger on it that he can pull, and it'll actually flip the camera back around like that, so you can look at the top side of whatever you stuck it down in. Again, this is basically bare bones, it's pretty basic, but for 20-something dollars, you know, you can't really ask for a whole lot. As long as it gives me a clear picture and I can see what I'm looking at, that's good enough for me. So I've got it hooked up to my computer back here now. You can see the LEDs on. It's only a 5 megapixel camera, so you're not going to get the best picture in the world. It's not HD, but it is pretty good. It's, you know, better than sticking your eyeball up to the spark plug hole with a flashlight and actually looking down in it. But you know, the picture is not great at distance, but when you get close, it has pretty good resolution. And if you're looking at something like this down in your bore, then you're pretty well screwed. But that's kind of what it's designed for, is just stick down in the engine or down in just any place where it's tough to see, and it'll give you a pretty good picture and a good idea of what's going on. And then like I mentioned, you have all the different little attachments you can put on the end of it, you know, the hook or this or that or whatever. The magnet is really the only thing that I think is really handy. But, you know, you may find a use for one of the other things. And at 20 bucks, you know, you're not going to be out of fortune. And you can probably make that back by just doing like one unlicensed colonoscopy on your friends with this thing. So it's just one of those additions to your toolbox that makes life a little bit easier. And chances are, if you have it, you'll just find more and more uses for it. So until next time, be sure to head over to svtperformance.com, check out what we've got going on the main site.